Welcome back to the All Hazards Prepper Show, your go-to spot for all your disaster prep information and how to survive wild SHTF scenarios. Plus, we'll chat about the chaos of the world, throw in weather updates, and cover any topics the All Hazards Prepper has in his head this week. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform and join us on social media. Now, let's welcome your fearless leader and the brains behind the All Hazards Prepper, Blake.
Welcome back to the All Hazards Prepper Show. This is your host, Blake. So glad that you have joined us. Hope you're staying safe out there. Sorry, you've been a little absent lately. We have had some family things go on. If you're in my family friend group that listen to the show, you kind of should know what's kind of been happening. But all is good now. God is good. Prayers are good. And then starting the new job and doing healthcare emergency management has been great as well. So all that combined, just haven't really had the time to get a show in here. Sorry we didn't shoot a show this week. I was going to shoot one, and then that didn't happen because I wanted to kind of delay the show based on what was going on. If you've been living underneath a rock and you don't know, Western North Carolina and lots of parts of the Appalachian Mountains were heavily affected by Hurricane Helene, dropping. I don't even know how many inches. I've seen different types of reports. I think it's kind of hard for them to tell, but I've seen reports up to 20, 25 inches in some parts in Asheville. If you're not familiar with Western North Carolina, if you just think of North Carolina and you think of the beach and whatever college you want to name off, Western North Carolina cannot be forgot about. Some of the most beautiful mountains around and the East Coast or even the West Coast. Very booming during the fall season, so not a good time to hit. A lot of economic loss, but Western North Carolina can be pretty rural in parts. There's not really a big city there other than Asheville. Asheville's pretty big in size, not like a big city, but it's pretty big in size and infrastructures and things to do there. But other than that, the Western North Carolina is pretty rural. Not a lot of infrastructure, not a lot of it's very hilly and mountainous and remote. So whenever you drop a giant hurricane like Helene on Western North Carolina, certainly going to have some destruction. I don't even know. I can't even tell you how many fatalities it's up. I've seen reports of 200, anywhere from 200 to 150, somewhere in there. It's probably more. Which is crazy to think of a hurricane doing something that bad that far inland. But hurricanes, tropical storms, whatever, it's not, it's really the rainfall. That's what did it on this one, was the rainfall. That heavy rain bands that set up and, in the mountains, in, a flat area, if you're, impacting on the beach, water has, places to go. In the mountains, they're all rushing down the mountain, and next thing you know, it's sitting in the valleys and where these towns are, or where these small areas are that are populated, and water sits and rushes, and then has to get to the next tributary or river. Won't go into our science here, but that's kind of some of the all hazards prepper take on mountain flooding. But anyway, I have a good friend, best friend that lives out in Beach Mountain, North Carolina. If you don't know where that is, it's almost to Tennessee in some sense, very high up. I think it's the highest city or town per se, not city, town in North Carolina, and is very well known for their skiing. But he's been, I wasn't able to get in touch with him for several days, and ended up getting a hold of him on Saturday once he got off the mountain to go get some more supplies. And he's a police officer anyway. I've been talking with him this week, and some of the destruction, some of the stuff he sent me, it's just amazing what that did. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. We are still in hurricane season, people. Right now, the tropics, thank the Lord, are kind of slow. We got a lot of fish storms out there. Kirk, which is a hurricane, which I call a fish storm. If you haven't heard me call it a fish storm yet, a fish storm is simply a hurricane that's just going to affect the fish, not going to affect land. It's just way out there in the Atlantic or even in the Pacific. But anyway, Kirk's out there. I don't know what is up to right now. To be honest, I haven't been paying attention to that. I only start paying attention whenever it starts getting into landfall areas. I know there is a possible development going on, possibly getting in the Gulf, but going over Florida. But that's too early to tell. A lot of people, they ask, why can we not like get a week's notice on where these hurricanes are going? We're just not, the weather community is not there yet. I mean, we can get signals, what they would call, meteorologists would call, a week and a half out, and really tell. But, really, we don't know true, that true forecast, that true track. Until just a few days. And that's why it's important to prepare beforehand, to have your preps done, have an emergency plan, know when to evacuate, and what to expect. Unfortunately, the last two incidents that we've had here in North Carolina, what was tropical depression 8, which is was beginning of September, mid September. Um, Sorry, I'm driving and people are not driving good today. But that storm, was not supposed to do a whole lot and dropped almost 20 inches of rain on parts of the North Carolina coast, which caused pretty good destruction. Then, a couple weeks later, turn around, and then we have a hurricane making landfall in the Gulf. Helene working its way up through Georgia, South Carolina, and then making kind of disseminating over the Appalachian Mountains, causing mass flooding. So, if you want to go learn more about what the response has been like, I know the state has deployed every single USAR team. If you don't know what USAR is, it's Urban Search and Rescue. Essentially, these people are trained individuals, usually attached to fire departments within the state of North Carolina. Every state has them. May vary on how they're dispatched and how they're operated, but for the most part, they're all firemen, or some of them are law enforcement or EMS that are trained in swiftwater rescue and urban search and rescue for water response. So all those teams are deployed right now. I know there's several other teams deployed from other states. Different emergency management groups are deployed. They brought in what they call, we've talked about before here on the All Hazards Prepper, an incident management team for several of the counties that are affected to essentially help manage the incident. There are emergency managers or someone like that to manage the incident because it has overwhelmed the county. That wherever county there is out there, there's several counties that these people are part of. Other than that, there's a whole lot of other resources. I know there's a lot of nonprofits, NGOs out there. Baptist on a Mission has been out there. The Red Cross, Samaritan's Purse. All these tend to focus on mass feeding, mass care operations. Samaritan's Purse is a little different in the sense that they have a medical capacity to their organization, which is great, especially during these times. One of the biggest things was, people on oxygen not having this, oxygen supply. They were able to set up, I think maybe in Boone, but there's a couple places set up to supply oxygen. And all of that. Usually, these types of things if they see a need for it, they're going to deploy that resource pretty fast. There's a whole lot of other resources out there. I'd probably spend days talking about that. But here in the central and eastern part of the state, where I'm at, I'm in the eastern part of the state technically, but there's a lot of different organizations, churches, counties that are just accepting mass donations because these people have no water, no food, no power, you name it, they don't have it. And some of them don't have homes. So there's a lot of donations going out, which is great. Make sure if you are donating that you are donating to an organization that is directly contacted or directly in contact with emergency management, the state. There's some resources out there. Excuse me. There's an ambulance going by, and there's all sorts of excitement here on our drive home. Anyway, so there's make sure that you're donating to resources or places that are going to take the items actually there. There's been a lot of talk of people stealing items or not placing items, or the counties and government taking the items, which is insane. Do not share or do not reshare this information. I'll get into that in a minute, but we'll talk about, because there's been a lot of talks with that as well. But make sure that you're donating to a good organization. Churches, your counties certainly know how to take these goods up to them, to the western part of the state. Other than that, I think this just shows that everyone needs to be prepared. A lot of people were saying, "Where's FEMA? Where's XYZ organization?" A day after the storm hit. Well, I've told you before, and I'll tell you again. Most in most places in the world, or in the United States, it's going to take about 3 to 4 days to actually get you supplies. Maybe not, if you call 911 and you have an urgent emergency, like a medical emergency, or your house is on fire during the disaster, or whatever impact there has been. Of course, there will be people, hopefully, be able to help you. But you call 911, say, "I'm out of water." Well, they're going to probably say, put you on a list, and it's going to be a few days, or a few hours until that happens. And that's why you need to make sure that you have those basic preps. Make sure that you have a gallon of water per person per day. So 3 days, if you got 3 people in your family, 3 gallons of water. But that's not a whole lot in my perspective. That's what FEMA says. I really say you probably need 2 to 3 gallons of water per person per day. Making sure that you have non-perishable foods, a generator, or a power pack or something. I've seen some interesting things people are doing to run power, to run, get water. They're getting water out of creeks and stuff. That's I guess a good thing after a disaster, is that you got a lot of water. Depends on the disaster, but after a flood event like this, you got a lot of water, so they're getting water from that to flush toilets, which is fine. It works. Improvise, overcome type thing. But making sure that you have these things, making sure you have a first aid kit. If you're on medication, I always recommend for people to get on a 90-day supply of your medication, and make sure that you have a 90-day supply. And if you know you're about to run out, especially before a disaster occurs, go and refill it, and make sure you have extras. And if you can have extra on hand, that's even better too. So those are some key things. I think these two past disasters over the last, that just affected my home state, which is crazy to think that we have that. Right, there's two ends of the state have been affected in the last month. So that just shows why you need to be prepared, and get stuff together. We will be thinking, praying, looking at ways to help Western North Carolina. I think I've shared a couple times some different organizations to go and share stuff to, or give stuff to. I'll try to do a post this weekend on that. I have some time this weekend to do that. But making sure that you just keep your thoughts and prayers for those people in the western part of the state, and parts of Tennessee and parts of Georgia as well. They were affected just as much. So definitely there's a lot going on out there. There'll be a long recovery process. I mean, we're still going through recovery processes from Matthew and Florence. And those were, I don't even know how, at least 5. Matthew might have been 8. I don't, many years ago. But this will be a long process. Unfortunately, recovery is the longest process in the emergency management cycle. Um, it is long, it's tedious, it's hard. There's a lot that has to be done, and hopefully you're building it back better, doing those mitigation strategies that we've talked about. So if your home's been destroyed, or you had a part of your land destroyed or something, make sure that you're building that back better, where it's more resilient to the next disaster that could occur. Anyway, that's what's been going on there in the western part of the state. Definitely we'll keep talking about that. I have a guy that's been affected on that end of the state, actually South Carolina, that wants to be on the show, and we're going to try to get him on. He has no power, so we're getting around that. But anyway, so other things that have been going on this week, it seemed there was a little bit of a buy scare, or what we'll call, or a hoarding scare, or whatever you want to call it, because of probably the hurricane. Also, because there was a dock worker strike. I had been following that for, I don't know, up to a couple months, not a month, a couple months, a couple weeks now. Seen that on the news. I get reports from different agencies and different organizations, and also read local, national, international news to stay abreast of everything. And I think that came as a shock to a lot of people that something like that was going on, and that could affect them. And due to that, that's why another reason to stay prepared. Um, it seems like toilet paper. I don't know what it is, people, about toilet paper, but that's like the first thing that you go and get. I mean, if you're like me and have a Sam's membership, you should have enough toilet paper and paper towels to last you for, I don't know, 6 months. I have enough toilet paper to last at least 6 months, if not more. Depends on the day, but anyway, definitely it's a little different, it's a little scary thinking about this people going out and panic buying. I was in Walmart and I was just trying to get some groceries things, and next thing I know, there's everyone's with toilet paper in the basket. I'm like, okay, you guys need to calm down. But it's just a little crazy that you people go out and buy that. But as a prepper, you shouldn't have to worry and have to do, go out and buy toilet paper or go out and buy, whatever XYZ thing is being taken off the shelf this week. You should have those resources on hand. Keep extra toilet paper, keep extra paper towels, keep extra food, keep extra water, fill in the blank. Just have extra of everything, and don't go out and panic buy. And with this, I saw even more people posting and sharing things that were essentially false. They're false information. It was not, credible information. We are in election season. If you did not know, if you've again been living underneath some sort of rock, God bless you if you have. I wish I could find that rock. But everywhere you turn, you cannot. You see the political ads. I know Donald Trump is here in town where we are uh, today. And anyway, but we are in election season. We are seeing bad actors, bad states, not states, but countries. I won't say states, but that are trying to, you know, uh, you know, put out false information to stir the public, terrify, to do whatever you want to call it. And it's important to just make sure that you're sharing valuable stuff or if you're sharing stuff, it's credible, it's valuable, it's not, it's not some random ad you saw on Facebook that some friend reshared as well. It really has a credible source. If something raises the back of your hair a little bit and says, something that's not right about this, don't share it, don't like it, don't comment on it, don't do anything. Because next thing you know, your Facebook account could be hacked. Seen that as well. But just make sure that you're sharing proper information. Have a heightened sense of alert online nowadays, especially right now, even in public, have a heightened sense of alert. Just because of what this country is going through right now, it's going to be an interesting election season. Again, I try to stay apolitical here on the All Hazards Prepper, but these things do occur, and we just have to stay a little bit more, situational awareness of what's going on. So I just wanted to get on here and talk about that. Other things that are going on here on the All Hazards Prepper. Again, I said I had a few people lined up. If you are interested in being on the show, let me know. I'm still kind of going through some family things. We're having to stay at my or another person's house a little bit. I'm not going into detail, but anyway, I'll try to get you on the show soon. But definitely continue to check us out. I'll keep posting, keep sharing. Definitely keep monitoring the tropics. If we start seeing more development, we still have another month in hurricane season. Hurricane season doesn't end until November, and then we'll talk about winter weather then, if we don't get there sooner than later. So anyway, hope everyone stays safe out there. Continue to make sure that you're liking, commenting, subscribing to the show. Hope everyone stays safe. The All Hazards Prepper out.